Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And, you know, the political game that the Conservatives have entered into, people need to be aware of the fact that you have the former law clerk that says that what the Conservative tactic is an abuse of power. What do the RCMP say? The RCMP say that what is being asked for causes a great deal of concern as they raise the issue of the Charter. You have the Auditor General of Canada reinforcing what it is that the RCMP are saying. Every time I've asked this question in terms of why it is Canadians should actually listen to the Conservatives and their political game versus these independent institutions, Mr. Speaker, none of them will give a straight answer to Canadians. Why should we take the advice of the Conservatives over and above those?
The honourable member from Langley Aldergrove.
Well, Mr. Speaker, I'm going to turn that around as a question to the member from Winnipeg North. Why don't they comply with the order? Right. Parliament is supreme. We have the right to make this order. We did make the order. Too bad it's a minority government for you. For the Liberal Party. But it is an order of this House. It must be complied with. There's an ancient tradition in our Parliament that we have the authority, we have the right to make these kinds of orders. And why? What do the Liberals have? What are they hiding from? What are they afraid of? And why are they hiding behind Section 8 of the Charter, which is there to protect individuals from government action, not the other way around? Thank you.
L'honorable député de Joliette.
The honourable member from Joliette. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I thank the member for his speech. We have been debating this in the House for about 2 weeks. This is the third Friday in a row that the House has been discussing this question of privilege. The government has still not produced the documents that the majority of elected members in this place have called on the government to produce. We don't seem to be making any progress. It also seems that the government is in no rush to get back to other legislation. So in my colleague's opinion, why is the government not in any rush? After 9 years, is it because this government is shop-worn and has no new legislation to put forward? Follow-up question. Does this mean there's a possibility of proroguing? The lights have started to be turned off on that side of the House. Is this not the beginning of the end for this government? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Langley Aldergrove.
Well, I would like to thank my friend and colleague from the Lac Québécois for that interesting question. The easy answer is, the Liberals aren't going to take any advice from me. I wish they would, because we've got some pretty good common sense advice to give them. Why aren't they anxious and eager to get on with their their legislative agenda? I don't know. But I can tell you that people in my riding aren't all that anxious for this Liberal government to continue with some of their legislation. They're ill-advised, they're poorly thought-out legislation like the capital gains tax inclusion rate increases. People in my riding don't want that. They see that this is wrong-headed. So perhaps it's okay for this government not to be advancing their legislative agenda right now.
The honourable member from Edmonton, Strathcona.
Why, thank you, Mr. Speaker. And during my colleague's speech, it did become a little darker in here, I have to admit. But one of the things that he started with when he began his speech is talking about the NDP working with the Liberals. And I wanted to take a moment today to acknowledge the important work that happened and that was finished in the Senate yesterday, when pharmacare actually was passed through the Senate, brought back to this House, and that millions of Canadians now will have access to a pharmacare program. It's very, very exciting, and I think it shows that there are There are things that we can do where we work together. As an opposition member, I work when I can for Canadians, and I oppose when I think that the government is not taking the right steps that will help Canadians. So very proud of dental care, very proud of pharmacare, very proud of the anti-scab legislation. What I do wonder about, though, and I wonder if my colleague from Langley Aldergrove could comment on this, is for Canadians who are struggling right now, Canadians who are finding housing unaffordable, who can't afford their groceries, do you think that they see 3 weeks spent in this House not talking about ways to make their lives better is an appropriate use of parliamentary time?
The honourable member from Langley Aldergrove.
Well, I would like to thank my colleague for that question. Yes, indeed, I think that we should get on with debating things that are important to Canadians, like axing the tax and building homes that are affordable for people, getting the cost of living under control, and encouraging this corrupt government to get on with the business of running this place in a clean and clear and ethical manner. That's what we should be debating right now. Thank you.